they were a company that came up here.
Right. Yep. Please rise. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Doobie?
Present.
Katie Grigorchak. Paul Grigorchak. Bonnie Holstein.
Present.
Gary Aros.
Here.
Leah. How do you say your last name?
Rulo.
Rulo. Easy. Chris Rivers.
Present. Well, hopefully nobody gets blown away on the way home. Windstorm is coming in. It gets snow as well. Feel bad for the Lions. You got to root for somebody else.
Next year.
Other than that, oh well. Any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Yes, under non-consent item E, commencement date. And we will not need a closed session for tonight, so we'll eliminate item 7.
Any discussion? Yeah. Motion. Support. Motion support. Gary, Chris. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the approval of the agenda. And community comments. Okay, seeing none. And communication.
Consent agenda, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Pay bills totaling $710,357.96.
Support. All right, motion for it. Sorry about that, Gary.
No problem.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Yaros.
Yes.
Rulo.
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 It's okay.
Roush.
Yes.
Holstein.
Yes.
All is yes. Katie.
Yes.
Yes.
7.
Now. Now,
Thank you, President Doobie. I went to the MASA, it's the Superintendent's Conference last week. Just wanted to highlight a few of the things. I did go to a session called Hometown Voice for Rural Schools. We discussed communication methods, how many times with communities our size that the school is the community, it's kind of the hub. They gave some suggestions on websites and social media messages, what to do, what not to do. We heard from the DODEA school. I didn't know anything about federally owned and ran schools. There's only a handful in the country. Most of them are for military bases or families outside of our country. But they talked about the director discussed how the school needs to be the center of the community. And again, like the other one, and he actually it's part of the Department of Defense. Education activity is what that stands for. So that was kind of cool hearing what they did and how they ran their schools. We had a legislative update. We discussed the mess left in Lansing regarding pending legislation not being sent to the governor in time. Still waiting to see where that goes. And it's pretty messy. A lot on AI, many useful applications for schools. I will hopefully see some smiles from my Notebook LM podcast that was created using our information. And just for the audience and community, that Notebook LM, it's you put in whatever documents that you would like, and it makes a fake AI podcast with two people talking, kind of like it's a NPR thing, is what Mr. Yarrow said it sounded like, where they discuss all the things that you put in. So if I do it again, which I might, you don't have to use it or open it, but I would be more specific on just the certain things that I would want you to have a summary on, not the whole thing. But kind of a cool thing. There's a new AI generator called Perplexity, where it doesn't just randomly give you the stuff, it gives you the information, and also it does like a works cited where that information came from. So they were thinking that that's more of a school type AI thing, where now the students can say if they used AI, where it came from. Was it a newspaper? Was it a website? So that was kind of a neat AI thing that is there now. Student discipline woes put on by Troon Law. This is some good information, things that we can change how we do some of our discipline. A language update where any removal that is more than 60 days is an expulsion, where we've said long-term suspension. Not that it's a huge difference, the student still gets the same thing, but our language would be correct in going by law if we say that. We also, this seems to come up quite a bit, subject to reinstatement can be added to lessen a suspension or expulsion at the parent's expense. So if we say you will be expelled for 150 days, but if you go seek counseling on your own dime outside, we can lower it to 100. We'll see you in 100 if you do that, which in the past we haven't done that because we thought that could go back on us to have to pay. And they said, no, it's not saying it's a requirement, it's to lessen the expulsion. So that was neat to hear that. I also asked a question that I wanted to confirm about students refusing a search or a breathalyzer, because sometimes if they know they have something, they don't want to admit to it. And the lawyer said refusal is admission of guilt, and you could also add insubordination on top of it if they don't do what you say. If you want, empty your pockets, or so it could actually hurt them, give them more of a suspension if they don't follow the directions of our administrators. And every once in a while, you'd have a student who would take off or go out the door and think, okay, I come back, I don't have anything. But no, that's admitting guilt by doing that. Life on Purpose talked about educators are at the top of the list for careers with a purpose. And teachers are our guardians of creativity, confidence, knowledge, and curiosity. So that was a kind of a uplifting, motivational talk. And then decoding your health. They always like throwing something in there for our superintendents to relieve some stress and be healthy. And he talked about don't put a sticky note over your check engine light. If you're an educator, or someone that has some signs of something that needs some help, you need to take care of it. So that was it for the Midwinter Conference. Heating update, Mr. O'Hare continues to work on our heating issues. Central classrooms now can use their heating units and don't have to have the portable units on top, draining energy and blowing fuses. So we thank him for that, but it seems like once you get one set of rooms done, something else pops up somewhere else. So he's always on that continuous loop of trying to get the heating to where we want it to be. Future facility upgrades. We've mentioned previously that we are starting to investigate our facilities and upgrades that are needed. We have a bond that will be completed in 7 to 8 years. So I've been meeting with our engineers and construction company. I met with them last week to review our needs and some possible solutions. So the engineering company, he contacted our financial advisors to put together 4 or 5 plans with varying additions or upgrades. Upgrading elementaries, making a new elementary, creating a field house on that elementary or not, or adding an auditorium. So 4 or 5 different things, and what it would cost our community members. That way, as soon as we get that back, we can start talking on the board. We can have community meetings to say, what do we think the community would support? Just continuing as is, where we only get a few upgrades here or there, or doing something more to help the school. So look for that in the near future, that we'll have that information. Display board update in our high school gym. I'd like to thank Lydia and Annette from Central Office helping with our superintendent and high school principal updates. Kind of a historical document that we've been working on. We have a list of superintendents and high school principals that we added to the digital display out there in the gym lobby. So if you get a chance and you want to look at it, you click the history tab and then it will come up. And so what we did was we put together as far back as we could, and we know that the first superintendent on record that we can find, there may be earlier, 1907 was William Gould. Obviously, we don't have pictures from all that way back. I think it was 1920s we had a picture for superintendents, and the 1930s for principals. So kind of a cool thing that we now have this list of our superintendents and principals from the past. I think that's it. Any questions?
The the heaters over there, he got parts that were removed and put it back
They're
in?
all up and running now.
Okay.
Yep, and the teachers have switches.
Okay.
So it's not an automatic, just temperature is, you know,
Right.
the thermostat type thing. They turn it on when it's cool and they can turn it off, where before they had no control over it. They weren't even working.
Okay.
So
Cool.
it's
Cool.
making progress.
Good.
Anything else?
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, student rep, please introduce yourself, young lady.
Hello everyone, I'm Trinity Briggs. In student council news, this week is Coming Home 2025. Each day will feature a dress-up theme for high school students. Students who participate will earn spirit points for their class. The annual Penny War began last week and will wrap up on Thursday. Each graduation class is also building class pride floats to earn more spirit points for their class. Friday will feature the annual Coming Home Pep Assembly, the awarding of the Spirit Jug, and the crowning of the Coming Home King in between varsity basketball games. Seniors in the running to be crowned king include Cole Brady, Landon Enciso, Calvin Holland, Zach Lowers, Brady Lupke, and Garrett Zare. The Coming Home dance will take place on Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. in the high school gymnasium. The dance theme is Teen Beach. The Winter Blood Drive, sponsored by Student Council, was canceled due to the cold weather. Student Council looks forward to hosting more drives in March and May. For bands, high school solo and ensemble competition will take place on Saturday, February 1st at Ogama Heights High School. The boys varsity basketball team notched 2 wins last week. The boys defeated Farwell on Tuesday by a score of 84-21. The boys defeated Bullock Creek on Thursday by a score of 68-42. The boys now have 11 wins and 2 losses on the season, and they face Claire this evening in Claire. The girls' varsity basketball team also earned 2 wins last week. The girls defeated Coleman on Monday by a score of 47-36, and they defeated Farwell on Wednesday by a score of 47-28. They face Harrison home on Wednesday. For wrestling, Maverick Brevard notched his 100th career wrestling victory last Wednesday in Standish. 2 other Spartan wrestlers are close to reaching the same accomplishments. Alan Whiting currently sits at 99 wins, and Isaiah Hoffman sits at 98 wins. The wrestling team competes at home on Wednesday. The girls' bowling team defeated Claire 16-14 on Saturday. Leading bowlers were Layla St. Peter with 182, Nina Schott with 159, Audrey Schultz with 159, and Ellie Schultz with 134. And the boys' bowling team defeated Reed City last week. Ethan Miller led the team with gains of 199 and 194. That's all from me.
Mr. Dewey, Mrs. Briggs, a little modest. You forgot All-Star Band.
That's not on here.
Well, how many students went to All-Star Band and who were they?
3.
And
3 students went to All-Star Band, one of which was me.
there you go.
One was Maria Harrow, and one was Ava Swedowski.
And that's when our students went to Alpena.
Yep.
And joined in with all the other band members from surrounding districts and put on a concert, right?
Yep. We were there. We went out Friday night. Spent the night after. We had 6 hours of rehearsal time to put on. I think we did 5 songs for the high school band.
So wonderful. Cool. Congratulations.
Okay, administrative staff. Any?
So
As part of our federal E-rate funding, we have like a window where we get a certain amount if we apply for it. So next board meeting, there's probably gonna be a project on the board packet for the non-consent agenda, but I won't be here. So, if you have any questions, just email me or like ask me, just so you know. But it's gonna be for, to replace our wireless throughout the district, so it'll be every single access point, moving to a new system. It'll be a kind of big number, but, the federal government pays for like 80% of it, so. Now it's just a good time to do it while we still have those funds available.
Sue?
Hello, I'm here to do the 24-25 budget amendment. Please.
Sorry. I mean, I'm too far away.
Oh, there we go, sorry. So just to recap, in June, we had made some predictions. And at that time, the state budget was not adopted. We expected our pupil count to remain consistent. And we thought our foundation allowance, we estimated a 2.8 increase. But what we couldn't predict, really what was gonna happen was our pupil count was gonna decrease by 66 students. We received no increase in our foundation allowance, with a one-time MIPSERS deposit that was made to the district, and our health insurance increased by 13%. So all great news. All right, if you go to the next slide, please. Do the page up, page down.
I think Gary's closest to it. Yeah, we all this on the wall.
See it lit up.
It usually works.
Yeah, it was working earlier.
Do we have batteries for the budget? You want to
Do
get
you know what I gave you?
Maybe, I don't know.
Take it over and see.
Oh. The roller on the mouse things, or just roll it down, there you go. Okay, got it. Woo-hoo! All right. So revenues, in your packet, I gave you a sheet of all the budget amendment, but I made a change. I moved from other sources to local. Our Sterling Area Health Center funds, if you remember, we renovated the Advancement Academy for, the Sterling Health Center, Student Health Base Center. And those were state funds, but the Sterling Area Health Center received the state funds. We received the funds from the Sterling Area Health Center. So my auditor would like those to be local grants. So those are not local grants. So I changed that to show that. We did have an increase to bank interest. We had some insurance claims, and we're expecting 2% grant in the spring here. So those are the adjustments for the local. The state adjustments, again, no foundation allowance. And the MIPSERS, there's been a lot of changes regarding the MIPSERS. Some good, some bad. So those are those adjustments. And the federal grants, of course, from the previous year, it's gone down because we received no more ESSER funding. We did get a little bit of ESSER funding from the state. It was money that was other districts didn't use and was reallocated to us. They called it 11B. We used that to pay for the SRO for 2 months, so it was a small amount. And title budgets and amendments we're working on, and title budgets are a little less than they were in previous years. And then other sources, our GSR budget and carryover, we were expecting not to receive any transportation funding. We did receive transportation funding. And then I just received some information that they will be upping that, so, I also budgeted that. And we did get a small increase in the special education flow through from the Bay Area ISD. Next slide. Okay, expenses. All lines have salary and benefit adjustments. If you remember, pretty much everybody received a large bump. There was a lot of insurance increases and changes, so that's gonna affect all of the expense lines. The pupil line, we did have a half-time counselor that we increased to a full-time counselor. Instructional staff, we currently do not have a curriculum director. In general administration, we did increase the district advertising. In our operations and maintenance, we increased staffing. And if you remember, we've hired a director also, and he's been working a lot on heating and air conditioning and all the fun stuff, and that's costing a little bit of money. Athletics, we do now have an athletic trainer who also bought some supplies and things she needed, so that's in there. Capital outlays, things that we've done, we finished up the roof project. We've got soccer dugouts. There's a culvert and a fence at the soccer field. Our bus garage had some electrical work done over the summer. Again, the Sterling Area Health Center renovation. The Mount Forest track and parking were done. All the signage for the emergency lockout was done. We purchased a van and a bus. A lot of stuff. So in summary, last year we carried a fund balance over of $6,071,741. Okay, let's say that again. $6,071,741. So we've updated that. 5% is allocated by the state for our fund balance of $909,652. We've designated $1.2 million for the future for COVID learning loss, which leaves us a grand total of a general fund balance of $2,888,389. Things that we're watching that might affect the budget was House Bill 6058, and what that is that the state regulates how much the school district can spend on health insurance. And with that bill, it'll increase it by 7%. So it's not been put on the governor's desk right now because there's an issue with the bill. So we don't know where that's gonna land, but if it does go through, then that's more hit to the district. Another thing is the 147G healthcare premium subsidy. This was retirement, 3% that employees are paying for the health. It's anybody that was hired before 2010 is what they say. They're saying that we need to pay the employees back. They're giving us the money to do that, but they haven't given us the money to do that yet. So we're sitting and waiting to find out if they're really gonna give us the money to do that and how that's all gonna work out, because it could be more cost to the district because employees took it out at pre-tax, but if we give them a reimbursement, then we have to pay FICA on that. Who's up for that? Do we pay for that? Is the state giving us extra money for that? So there's a lot of unknowns in relation to that. So those are two things that we're watching. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Or?
Just update it again in June, right?
Yes, and then we'll have a final amendment in June. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, budget committee. I think we need to go over any more.
No, I guess all we can do is hit a highlight. what we take away from it is that we lost the students. If we lose students again and the foundation allowance doesn't come up, we'll have to do some cuts.
Yeah.
Most likely, is what we're looking at. So if the foundation allowance doesn't come about, it's been 2 years at the same level. So if the state freezes us for a third level next year, we'll have to start looking at cuts. The other takeaway is capital projects. When she showed the expenses, it didn't highlight that we have $115,000 left budgeted for capital projects remaining this year. So if we do not do any more capital projects, that would take that's it. But we do have a couple of big projects out for bids. So we'll have to make a call on that when the time comes to see them. And we're recommending we adopt that budget.
Okay, on to the non-consent. Right? Yep. Hey, the first reading, goes to the middle school handbook.
I move to approve the first reading of the middle school's handbook.
Motion? Or? Any discussion?
Yeah, I've got questions.
Questions have something to say there, that's why I just thought.
Great. What page are you?
Well, I don't know if administrators want to answer questions here, or if we'd rather have a committee meeting answer, we can talk amongst ourselves, or, I mean, my question is, the cell phones, certain teachers allow cell phones, certain teachers do not allow cell phones in classrooms.
Not at the middle school level.
Not at the middle school, okay.
And it should not be at the high school level.
That's gonna come up in the next one then. Right. Thanks, I just wanna make sure this is a zero tolerance. Let's see, teachers will enforce it. I like the change in penalties, it's lessened, it's reasonable penalties. Parents don't have to come in and pick up the phone any longer.
Yeah,
You took that requirement away.
yeah, we did. We just have them turn it into the front office and they can collect it at the end of the day, and the parents can have the choice. They want to come and pick it up.
So is this change happening midway through the year? Is this gonna be happening when we approve it?
It would happen as soon as it's.
Parents have to sign off on this again? Because they have to sign off on the handbook. How do we notify parents of the changes?
So my plan was to email, we have a newsletter that goes out every 2 weeks. It always has a link to the newsletter, or to the handbook within the newsletter. And then as soon as it's approved, if it's, not time for a newsletter to go out yet, then I would just send a message through school messenger. We probably should have it signed again.
The handbooks are all digital.
There are also.
So when we tell them, please look at the changes in the handbook, they have
We're gonna
it
have to
already.
look at the changes on our website. Don't say that, please.
It is there, but it's emailed.
in our
to everybody. Skyward portal, it's emailed beginning of each year.
Can you put a link when you send that email so that they can directly?
Yes.
do it?
Yeah, they would have a PDF copy.
I don't know if you have to sign off on it. I mean, they
I don't
do
think
sign
you
off
do
at the
it
beginning of the year, don't they?
They don't
They
anymore.
don't anymore? Okay.
No,
If
In the
we
beginning of
acknowledge
the
that they've
year-
read it.
In the beginning of the year, they sign up.
Yeah, they do it in
It's a requirement for middle and high school parents and
That's
students. Skyward orientation every single year
You
is a
sign
requirement.
it? Oh, you don't.
I know my daughter does.
I think I
So,
As far as the cell phones are concerned, does it need to be a little bit more specific with verbiage as far as smartwatches too, because so many people,
Yeah, so it's in there.
it doesn't say,
Yeah.
I missed that, because I read through as much of it as I didn't see that.
Yeah, but at the top of the policy, it describes like, cell phones, wireless headphones, and then anything else that may be used like a phone.
Right,
So we kind of were general with it, because if they're not using like a phone, we don't usually have issues with kids using their watches, but we have before, so then at that point, we would just have to take it off and put it in the
sorry. So you said that they need to keep it in their lockers, right, during the day turned off or on silent?
Yep.
I know that a lot of students have access to each other's lockers, so, I don't know if it's because the lockers don't lock or they don't lock it. Is there, I see something coming because of the lockers not being locked, that we could have problems in the future with even owning it.
That is up to them.
That
Because
is-
they should not have access to each other's lockers. If they do, it's because they're jamming it with something on purpose,
Okay.
or they share their comm. If that happens, by accident somehow, like, sometimes at the beginning of a semester, a sixth grader might have help from somebody that they no longer trust.
I don't mean that, I mean, like friends and other people.
Yeah, so if they compromise it, that's their own
Okay.
problem. If it becomes an issue, they can always ask our home monitor, she can make the change their locker, change their combination. But that's kind of their own consequence, I guess.
And sometimes they break and they don't report it because they like it broke, so they can just walk up and do it. You know what I mean? So they're told, if your locker is not working, please tell Miss Diana and she will fix it. But a lot of times they don't because they like it broke.
Under electronic device policy, you're eliminating offenses will reset at the conclusion of each semester.
Yes, they're cumulative the whole year. So here we are in January, just started a new semester. We've got kids getting written up for electronic devices. We're not back at square one.
Perfect, okay.
So I have a question about, can't find it right now, the page is on, but, when you have the first offense and the second
34.
offense, what,
34.
thank you, Jason. It says that there is something that the teachers must do, did you guys change that? Sorry, I didn't get.
Yeah, so level one used to identify like certain things the teachers must do before they hit like a level one, first offense. We've taken that verbiage out to not like say teachers have to do these things, but these are recommended teacher,
Okay.
classroom management types of things that, we hope that they're doing. We also reinforce outside of the handbook, a flow chart for behavior. So, we encourage that they follow that flow chart. But regardless, those behaviors will start with like warning / student conference, and then it goes right to lunch detention and progressive.
Okay. I know that the teachers are really good with emailing from my own kids, so they're good at communicating.
Yeah, we still, we still encourage that they'll make the phone calls home first and, try to handle classroom behaviors on their own as much as possible.
I just want to piggyback on that when you said the level one. Physical contact, minor pushing, shoving, horseplay, non-compliant stuff. You removed it from there. Where did it go?
So horseplay still, I think, is considered level one. So non-intentional, like,
So just first.
rough housing in the hallway,
okay.
that kind of a thing, which we would consider horseplay.
Okay.
Physical contact, I think it was listed.
Yep.
Level 2 or level 3. So it was combined, physical contact is physical contact. I mean, if they're intentionally trying to be rough and hurt each other, that always one category in our minds.
Not gonna decide if it's a light push or a hard push anymore. If you're
Correct.
pushing somebody,
Or an accidental slap or
Well,
a real slap.
yeah.
So,
You say we're not, it says major.
say that again.
On level 2, it says major pushing and shoving. What is major to you?
That's taken out.
That's not.
No.
Does it still say major?
yeah.
Yep.
it's
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, so we can correct that.
Okay.
For the next one, for the,
Physical contact, maybe is what
Yep.
we'll replace
Okay.
it with.
That includes the hallways?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
that's where most of it.
So horseplay would be something like a student decides to barrel roll down the hall versus a student who attacks another student, like, slaps the back of their head thinking it's funny, right? But still it's physical contact to us, so.
And so it doesn't matter in the hallways if they say they accidentally ran into them?
No, because
If the
we can
person-
see, and then we usually interview people who have seen it. Because we have cameras that
we don't see everything in the hall. Yeah, so we'll go back, review cameras, look at other students who may have witnessed what happened or heard something prior to what happened. We can usually get to the bottom if it was intentional or not. Thanks.
I think another typo is in the high school one, level 3, you missed 5 days out of school suspension. It went from 3 to 10. And in the middle school it goes 3, 5, 10. So I think they're supposed to mirror each other.
They will, yeah.
And I think that's just a typo on that high school one.
But on page 27, and I'm not sure if this is something that's been addressed previously. The way that it is written in here, it says that non-aggressive dogs to sniff out illegal controlled substances. Now, with marijuana no longer being illegal, does that need to be worded different so that it covers that also?
It is illegal for students the age of our school.
It's still legal for minors. Yep, a good catch, though. That's a good thought.
The number of offenses, level 1 behavior, page 34, nine offenses we're going out to. It just seems like that's a lot of warnings. I noticed we deleted some from other higher level offenses, but man, 9 offenses, that's a lot of talk.
Yeah, we reduced some, worked with teachers, so we met with teachers and got a lot of input from our whole entire staff. Everybody was in agreement with that. They felt it was reasonable. I see where you're coming from, but those are pretty minor behaviors too.
They are minor, yeah.
So
Remember?
if we progress to
That might be
like
9 days.
meeting with,
for some kids.
Typically, if they're getting to like a 4th, 5th, 6th offense on a level 1, they've gotten to a level 2 already. And so we would issue that discipline from there, which would escalate that, because if those little things always transpire into big things by the time they hit that 4th, 5th time, because it's that, how fast can we toe the line, and then the leap over.
Okay.
So typically, even though it looks like a lot, they've already gotten to that next level.
if it's a level 1 repeat offender, you can bet that they're probably a level 3 and some, yeah.
This gives kids that want to try and change a 9.
Yeah.
That's why there's more in that level.
Plenty of chances.
You give them a chance, that's a lot of chance.
So a kid could have multiple offenses in one day.
Mhm.
You could get written up in,
All 6 hours.
yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I only have one left on your level 4. First offense, 10 days or referral. Talk about the severity. Does it say, do you have it broke down? 36, I'm sorry. Do you have it broke down with where the severity that says, does it say anything, or is it just kid does it and then
So level 4 offenses, those are pretty, there's only a few of them. I think illegal drugs, alcohol.
Yep.
Um,
arson, weapons, assault, sexual conduct?
that's level 4 or is that level 5? It's
Level 4.
Level 4. Yeah, so as far as severity of the offense or,
Well, you have 10 days / referral for expulsion on the first offense. First offender getting 10 days,
Yeah.
or you're determining the severity before they come here, or to the superintendent.
yes.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
There's not, most of those, there's not a severity besides assault. That's the only one that would, I mean, the others,
Should that / be an and referral for expulsion? Did you get?
no, because assault doesn't have to be expulsion. You know, I mean, the first time you go up and assault somebody, that could be a 10-dayer. But the other ones, the alcohol and drugs, that's a 10-dayer, that's not an expulsion. So, you know, distribution, that's expulsion. So those are kind of, the state kind of tells us on those, I think, you know, what direction you have to go. They're just lumped in as this is the highest.
Now, I know we talked before, you said the assault. Do we want to change that? Because the assault's actually verbal, battery's the actual physical contact. But I could sit here and scream at Gary could be scared that I'm gonna go over there and hit him. If I don't hit him, that's the assault. Batteries, if I physically get up and go do it. I don't know if it's, we wanna change, cause somebody
I
could,
think it's the common language. throughout.
somebody could
It
argue
is the
this
common
out.
language for schools, assault
Okay.
is what they use every
That's what
school I've
schools
been
are
I
in.
see
using.
what you're saying, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Okay,
that's what the state Department of Ed uses.
okay.
So my question is, they can come to school drunk and then not be here for 10 days and then come to school drunk and not be here for 10 days, like, do we have a?
No, one
How many
offense.
times? It's just one time?
You get a one-timer for that,
And
then
then they're
you,
exposed?
you go to expulsion hearing. Yeah. That, there's no second offense. They'll be here.
So it doesn't say that, you know,
Once they hit that last level, typically, they're either having a meeting with
Yeah, I
you,
think-
or they're having a meeting with you guys.
Well, we've crossed off the superintendent meeting now, I see.
It's put right in with exposure, a lot of them.
Oh, okay.
Not every offense. Some of them will be 10 days and meet with the superintendent. I think they're combined, 10 days and meet.
Some have them, yeah, and I'm available anytime they need me to talk to someone. I set that up.
Does that work?
It's worked, I would think 75-80% of the time.
Oh, good.
You know, where maybe it's just enough to scare them into not coming here. But yeah, I think 2 or 3 times we've seen them after I talk to them.
We don't always wait until the 10th,
No.
10 days. It could
Right.
be that, you know, maybe they're 6, they're out 8 days, and we have them have a meeting, so they understand that the next time that's when it becomes 0 tolerance.
So maybe we could take, I could propose we take that out of the actual like consequence and add that into other interventions. So that we can kind of pick and choose at what
You
point.
can use it whenever you want, then,
Right,
which you can anyway. But
like, be more clear for others.
yeah.
I have another question. I'm going back old school. Someone I know hit a bus when he was in high school. And instead of getting kicked out of school, they let him come and work over a break, try to make up that time. And I know that a lot of students, when they get 10 days at home, they tend to think of it as vacation. And so I kind of feel like we're rewarding them, and I'm not really sure what the answer is, because I hate to turn it over to staff that might not be able to handle working with them. But is there some other alternative we can do besides sending them home, where they get to play video games for 10 days, basically?
So we still have the right within the handbook to come up with other, there's an asterisk in there.
Okay,
It still is ultimately left up to the administrator.
so often do we-
Restorative, and it's in there too, restorative practice.
do you know off the top of your head how often we do that instead of sending them home, come up with other?
We try to utilize ISS as much as possible. Restorative practices.
Probably more
Okay.
often than we should. But, I mean, really, to keep them here because we understand that a lot, even for like vaping, they're gonna go home.
Yeah.
So if we can keep them here, at least within a controlled environment. The other thing is all teachers have Google Classroom and they have to get their work completed even if they're on a suspension.
Oh, okay.
So that is one major part of that. So they're still getting that educational piece, and they're responsible for turning their work in. So that's whether or not they do that.
Right,
is
right.
left up to
Well,
them.
that's good. that there's
But at
some-
least there is that piece where I think, again, 10 years ago, we didn't have that option, so they'd come back and get, a pile, or the burden would be put on teachers as well to get that ready. Okay, this kid's getting suspended, you have 10 minutes to get their work together.
Right.
And it didn't happen. So that is the nice option.
Okay.
and we can offer alternatives. They don't have to accept them. A lot of times that's happened. If you want to clean lockers, for writing on the desk, or clean desks, and if they say no, okay, you get your discipline, whatever it says in the handbook. But there are times that they can offer things, the restorative practices that they have to consider
Okay,
for all of these things.
thanks. I was wondering.
Yeah, it's a great question.
One last thing, Tip, Ms. Jaime. You mentioned level 5. Is there a level 5? Or that is right there. I didn't see it. You said, was I reading level 4 or level 5? And it was level 4. There's not a level 5,
I
is
don't
there?
think so.
So that level 4 was the alcohol, drugs, arson, weapons.
Okay, read what level 5 is again, because there might have been some more edits.
No, I was asking, is there a level 5?
Will you read what you said for level 4 with those?
Was alcohol, drugs, distribution of alcohol and drugs, arson, weapons, assault, sexual.
Okay, so there is a level 5.
Okay.
We'll have to bring that for the next reading, because we must have made some edits right after she must have printed this right after.
Okay.
So we separated out level 5 to those bigger offenses, arson, weapons.
Oh, okay, you split this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So level 4 would just be everything else. So level 5 is arson, weapons, assault, sexual conduct. Level 4 would be the illegal drugs, alcohol.
Makes sense, okay.
Yeah.
And, before we go on, level 5 is straight here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
10 days and board decision, kind of a slash. So, because we would issue 10 days initially, and then we would send them to the board.
Okay, so that's what's on here. So what is the level 4 then? Same thing?
Level 4, I would have.
Assault.
But I think it was.
No, what's the offense for that one?
Consequence.
That was graduated as well, it didn't go right to 10, so I think it was
Oh.
out 3, out 5.
Okay, all right. Anybody else?
Unless we want to wait and read that reading to approve that.
I'm confused now. Level 4. What are the consequences? Do you know right off?
I think it was out 5 and automatic 5, and then the 10, and then that last one, we can decide.
You go automatically to the 10.
We put it off, so we get an updated version.
I can hold my motion if you want.
Your motion was to
Approve this.
approve the first reading.
It's the
There's
first
gonna be a
reading, so
second
we-
reading, so
We'll get a
we
second
should-
reading.
We're in a second.
That's why we do this, later out there,
Reading.
otherwise we should have it.
Right.
Hold it so I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll approve the first reading.
Okay.
And then
And then they can
make sure those
fix
changes
that part
are.
up.
And you're saying
Like-
you don't want to approve the first reading.
If everybody agrees.
We have a motion, first reading, we can vote if it's not discussed.
And I think Bonnie supported yours.
Yeah.
So we can run that one. Is there any more discussion on this right now? For the first reading? Then this is,
So all in favor?
yeah, okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we approve the first reading.
We'll bring it back.
I think Trinity's got it.
So
Yeah,
you did, okay,
I'll make a motion now for the, to approve the first reading of the high school handbook.
okay.
Sport.
Got a motion of support to approve the first reading of the proposed 24-25 high school.
Everything's the same except there's commencements and graduation requirements in this one, so I got a question there.
Cell phone, right?
The same
Cell phone,
changes,
commencements, yeah.
So the cell phone policy is the same?
No, it's,
The cell phone policy is the same in the high school.
Students are allowed
It
to
is not
hold
for
on.
this year. So the remainder of this year, we will have, everything is the same other than our high school students can have it on their person. It still needs to be off, teachers can send them to the office. All of those things are the same, other than it doesn't have to stay in their locker. We are going to want to change that for the fall.
And the teachers are okay with having it in the classroom?
We have some teachers that allow it in their classroom, but they should not.
So can they use it in the classroom if the teacher allows them to use it in the classroom?
That is something we are working on as a staff. That was one of our non-negotiables at the beginning of the school year. There are still teachers allowing it in their rooms, so.
Are they using it for classroom study and so forth, right?
They have computers. It's hard as a parent because like Abigail, I'm sorry, she has a phone problem. And so I'm really strict about phones. I gave her a flip phone because I was so upset that she had offenses about it. And then I find out that these other teachers said that she could have it. And so it was really confusing as a parent to be able to enforce the rules and then she can have it in this class, but not. So just as a parent's point of view.
And that we're working on it. It's a discussion probably at every staff meeting.
Oh, wow.
And so it will continue to be, so for the fall, it'll be seamless 6 through 12, they are not. The only difference with high school for next year would be like during lunch. kids could have it because they have open campus, that's fine, but once they are in their classes, hallways, it's not, they're not. So we have to work that.
Graduation, commencements, line 10. No page marker, no page, sorry, there is no. Yeah,
No pages, numbers. came
no
out.
page numbers in the high school.
Not this month.
It's right here. Let me just,
Yeah, go ahead.
for the folks that have been on the board, will not be familiar with this. Foreign exchange students may participate in senior awards night, but not in commencement exercises. So last year we voted to allow, so we want to just eliminate line 10.
They want them to be able to walk and not receive it.
And if we're doing that,
That was already approved last year. That
Yeah,
was
but it's
in
all-
here.
Yeah, but I thought we did just the 1 year
Thought it
thing.
was a
that was a
one-time-
waiver. I
One-time
believe.
waiver.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, now we could do
Well, I don't
it.
know, I'm just bringing it up because it's in here.
Yeah.
We could move it.
And then that leads me to say, do we really need all these other restrictive ones? I mean, is commencement's really a celebration of the students' achievements? Are we really concerned with library fines? They've been here 4 years. I say, if you're allowing a foreign exchange student to walk, who's only been here a semester, someone who's been here 4 years and owes $50, still be able to walk.
But then we won't get that money.
And then what do you do with athletics?
I mean, there could be hundreds.
Or-
If you could have a shop project for $500, that's,
That's why I'm asking.
the rule is all fines and fees must be paid before you walk at graduation is what, that's why that's in there. You're right, it could be a 10-cent library fine, which
Mhm.
that doesn't seem as big as a $500 cabinet that you made
Can we add computers to that?
with, you mean,
Well, it's
So that they
still a
have
fine.
in their computers?
It's all
Those
fine.
get fined too to your account.
yeah, they do, they,
They'll show up your Skyward.
Cords, broken computers, keypads, like mine.
they get charged for those.
Okay.
And then can students who are 1 semester short walk if they're gonna earn their degree in the spring?
That's something we've never done before.
Because a foreign exchange student is not getting it. No. So, I mean, you've been here 3.75 years. You're not walking because you're 1 credit short. And we're letting someone who just came in to visit us, nothing against them, they're great. But let's be consistent there. Is it a iPhone moment that we're Facebook moments now, graduation, where these people want to take pictures? Where it used to be a ceremony that honored only the best of the graduating class. I mean, everyone that really followed through, and there was rigid rules and there was dress codes. I think maybe times are changing,
And
and
there's
it's
also
more of a Facebook activity now.
and there is that 5-year program that they have with, I think, Delta College now.
They
where
walk
they're-
too.
They walk and they don't receive a diploma until they finish that 5th year.
Right.
So there'll be other students that will be not receiving a diploma.
So it's something
I
maybe
think
the
they
board
walk
needs to
your
discuss
fourth
and give them
over
some
my
direction.
understanding.
That's,
Right, but I don't think they get a diploma yet.
No, they don't.
Oh.
Some schools, you know, they have the, like you were saying, if you don't meet the requirements, but you're within 1 or 2 classes, you can walk, but then you have a month, you know, to
you don't get your diploma.
you don't get your diploma, but you have a month. In other districts, those kids don't care about the diploma, they want their
Right.
picture on stage
And
and
they get
that's
to
it.
walk.
Which
Face-
is almost a negative thing, because
Yep,
now
it
what
is.
counts for us, otherwise they're a dropout, and they don't care because they got to walk across the stage and get their picture, where if we say, no, you need all these requirements, now they're going to maybe work harder to get those. I know what you're saying, and that's, you know,
They do
or,
have credit recovery for those students that are behind.
Mm-hmm.
They can do those classes online
Yeah.
and make up those credits.
but we also could have a senior that fails 1 class their entire time, 2nd semester of Algebra 2, and they don't walk at graduation, where they could pass, what's our credit requirement, 22, and they have 26 possible. So they could have 25.5 credits and not be able to walk because they failed one requirement their last semester of their senior year. That is possible. That's happened before.
What if we just said if it would happen their senior year, 1 or 2 classes?
I
Put
would,
conditions on
I think it's a good discussion that maybe some committee meetings on before we, because this is a big
it's a big
change.
change.
I mean, I'm glad you're bringing it up because if it's something, I think we talk about it, we look at other schools, I don't want the decision we made tonight on that. That's a big one.
Or I think maybe we need a petition process for people who want to do, similar to what we did with the foreign exchange student, she petitioned. But there needs to be a process, so other students can do that too.
Right.
So we can look at the circumstances and
Yeah.
make the case.
That's a good idea. Under the board. And
Come to the board, if you can't pay your $500 wood shop bill, why is that?
Right.
Maybe there's.
So it gives them an out to be able to walk at graduation.
I like that idea, where it's not a blanket thing, but
Right.
each individual.
Yeah.
Probably a policy committee, huh?
Yeah, that'd be a policy committee that we'll set up.
Anything else? Gary?
No,
Okay, so we have a motion and support to approve the first reading of the high school 24-25 handbook. Any discussion? Is-
No other discussion, just the date that they have listed in there is gonna be updated.
No. I don't think it is the updated,
no, the calendar's not correct.
because that came after this, that change just happened last week, and this was printed probably before then, so we'll,
Okay,
Again, this will go to the parents after the next reading.
Yeah.
And an email and.
okay, that's it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. I think the last page has the committee. Everybody peruse it. If we would like to. Yeah, trying to keep them pretty much. Myself.
Andy, we're doing the readings of the middle school and the high school handbook. Do we have to do the athletic? Is that separate?
it's part of
It's
it.
part of,
Yeah,
okay.
Move to approve as you have outlined.
Motion. Support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on to D. 425 budget amendment.
I move to approve the 24-25 budget amendment as presented.
Support.
Motion support. Discussion. Roll call.
Charles?
Yes.
Rolo?
Yes.
Holstein?
Yes.
Ravish?
Yes.
Mrs. G? Mr. G, yes, and Duke.
Yes. On to E, the commencement date.
Make a motion to move commencements to May 18th. Sunday.
Motion to support. Any discussion?
Have you heard a lot of feedback one way or the other?
It's,
Is it gonna be acceptable to the majority?
why was it so early this year by chance? It seemed earlier than usual to me. May.
To get seniors finished and out of here, because by that time exams are finished up for them, their classes are finished up.
Is that what sets the end of the school year for seniors? Where does that date come from?
that comes from, the teachers union and myself picked that date. And in the past, it's been the last day of school, so that office is just chaos. That administrative assistant is supposed to be getting ready, that's like her big day for graduation, but also teachers are turning in things, senior graduation stuff, so a lot of schools do that a week or two ahead, because it's a big event, and it gets that out of the way, and then the other big event for closing out the school year is in a couple weeks, so.
This is the first year it's been earlier. Is that what causes that?
It used to be always,
Last year was earlier also, 2 weeks earlier. wasn't
no, it was the same. It was the last day of school.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it makes it easier for everybody, for the staff, I mean, to have those two separated, the last day of school and the seniors' graduation day, that's a lot.
And so is the only conflict the Charlevoix district event? Track and field?
And it's possible, we don't even know, they haven't set the date, it's either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. We don't know
Charlevoix in the
yet,
past has always been.
and it's always been Friday. And the reason we set it originally for this was that there was nothing on the calendar, it looks like an open date, because there isn't anything on it, and then a month or two ago, we heard from a coach like that's could possibly be the track regional, so.
Does Charlevoix have any feedback yet at all? No.
Yeah,
Because
Mr. Huber's been checking.
there's only two districts that haven't picked their date yet,
And there,
and they're one.
And then MHSA told me they were gonna email me too, like once they confirm the regional like site post again too, if it is done or not, so I'll still kind of wait on that. I'm checking the website and stuff too, but yeah, we're still waiting for Charlevoix as well,
Just so the board knows, I checked.
yeah.
Two are held on Thursday, 3 are being held on Thursday, or Friday, I'm sorry, and 3 are being held on Saturday. So it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
and we don't wanna put our students in danger of having to choose between working the last 4 years to go to track regional versus walking at commencements, so.
They didn't tell you that there's a possibility of when they would, no?
Nothing honestly really yet.
I'd say if it was gonna be, we're gonna know in the next week or two.
There must be a deadline to pick the date because we have to get invitations printed through the district. What is that date?
Oh, yeah. It's early, because Jostens comes in usually the first couple of weeks of school to do all of the things for graduation, caps and gowns, measuring, ordering, all the things. I know my secretary turns all that in, because she had to call them pretty early to get that changed, and they almost threw a fit. So hopefully, if this sets a good precedent, having it on a Sunday, we will move forward with doing that in the future. Or at least something on a weekend that makes more sense for families, and hopefully never have to change it again.
Right. The only concern with the Sunday is, and that we do try and steer away from like sporting events on Sundays. I know in the handbook we say it can't be a mandatory for students on a Sunday. So I think we have some precedent that we try and keep Sundays free, but I see your point. If parents give us good feedback,
When we
We
looked in
can
the
look at-
past, for past commencement ceremonies, they were on Sundays, and so we kind of followed suit with that.
that was quite a ways back though. That's going back to 2000s.
14, I think.
14,
through
yeah.
16.
I think there was a reason they got away from it though.
I would have been here, I don't remember.
Because people wanted on a weekday after school.
Keep it all
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
everybody.
And we'll look at it, but we just know we don't want there to be a conflict this year to have students choose.
Well, that's the tough part.
So that's why.
You know, everybody's got plans, everybody, you know.
Yep.
All right, so. That's it. So we had all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comment. Anybody? Yep.
We're not about that, or at the end?
Any public comment?
Whatever you want. Are you all done?
No,
It's your time.
it's your,
My time, it's your
please, please rise and, stand and tell us whom you are.
Yes, I do have that form filled out, I don't know if you guys want that or not.
Yep. Everybody else take it. Remember, you have 4 minutes.
4 minutes, oh, I thought I had 3, so.
You're right, you got 3.
I timed it, so hopefully I'm good. All right, my name is Amy Schultz. I do have 2 daughters that are in the district. I'm here because I wanted to address the board tonight. Sorry, nervous. Regarding the hiring of the varsity softball coach this year. First, I'd like to say, oh, God, this is horrible. We have a really good, strong group of athletes that are coming up through the system right now. These girls have played multiple sports together. They are good students, they're good athletes, and they are really good role models for other students. I believe we should be doing everything in our power to help promote these students into their future. In our handbook, which I have read, part of our athletic philosophy, it states, and I quote, "It is the responsibility of the athletic personnel to work for the betterment of the young person's total mental, moral, and spiritual development." The things I've witnessed during the process do not comply with this declaration. This includes first, the length of time it took us to hire a coach. This process was at least 6 weeks long, which has caused a delay in our training to begin for our season. Now that our conference is larger, we have a much stronger competition, and we want to be able to compete with these teams. We're going to have to step it up. Second, the fact that the coach that was chosen has 0 coaching experience. Another who applied has 6+ years of coaching girls softball with many championships, and includes coaching our middle school team for the past 4 years. Third, the number of people that sent in recommendation letters was numerous. These letters were from other coaches that coached with and against him, the vice president of a local travel softball team, and multiple parents of players he coached. However, the most egregious decision, and the one that compelled me to stand here in front of you today, is when the decision was made to pull a select few students, assumed softball players, from their classrooms to ask their opinion of one of the coach's candidates. This drew a line in the sand for me. Our handbook also states team members will not recommend or vote on who makes the team. Although it doesn't specifically state who is hired as a coach, I think it's safe to assume the same policy should apply. If you're reviewing the handbook, I would encourage you to look at adding that. The ramifications of what I hope were unintended consequences are immense. Now we have students questioning, why was this person asked and not me? Stating, well, I guess they're making varsity since they were pulled. Why wasn't I pulled? This has had a direct impact on their mental well-being and should have never happened. You are also giving the students the perceived power that they now have, not only in a hiring decision, but also an impact in an adult's life in the community. Being a teenager is hard enough. As adults, we should be here to help teach, guide, and counsel. We should not be causing more stress or pain for them. When speaking with another school official on this topic, this person told me something that has stuck with me. They said it's time for us not to do what is easy, but it's time to do what is right for our students. And that's exactly why I'm here today. It is not easy to stand here before you. I fear repercussions for my students and my children, as well as my family, not only as community members, but also as a business owner. However, I'm learning you this issue today because you can see I'm very passionate about it, and I believe it is what is right. I would like to know how these decisions support our athletic philosophy and the long-term development of our school and our athletic programs. You saw today we've lost 66 students from enrollment. Decisions like these are exactly why our athletes are leaving our schools and for other schools in our area. I'd encourage you to reach out if you have any questions or further clarification to me. But thank you for your time.
You have 1 second.
Oh,
Right on.
tears slowed me down.
Anybody else? The only thing that we had, but we don't anymore, is a closed session, so
Motion to adjourn.
support. All those in favor?